because what you often see in violence, which is so interesting, is I have never met someone who's aggressive or violent who hasn't said, well, I only did that because, and then we'll give you, like, the child did this, or, my teenager did that, or, my partner did XYZ. There is this oftentimes blaming
Mhm.
posture that you see, which is part of the struggle. So this idea that each of us are responsible for what we do, whether we intend to do it, meant to do it, whether it's part of a larger process, is important. And it's real common that you hear people say, well, if my kid just wouldn't have done X, I wouldn't have done Y, and you have to go, whoa, 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 stop, you don't get to, step back from being accountable. And in fact, being accountable is important because I think part of Dr. Bowen's idea in this work is, how do you begin to manage yourself? Oftentimes you can't change if you're working on the larger system, but what you can do is change your part in it. And that requires us to take ownership or responsibility for our own functioning and not simply try to think because it's part of a larger process again that it's not my fault. I didn't do it. I'm not responsible. um I would say to some degree that kind of thinking is in most families. Most couples I see will, when they're having a hard time working through marital conflict, well,
Yeah, if only that
often
person
say,
would change.
yeah, I got upset, but it was because this other person did XYZ. And it becomes really important that, it is possible to regulate one's own functioning, even if other people are doing things that could be, aggravating or triggering or upsetting.